Can you hear us now?
Yeah. All good.
I'm going to put you on speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to CripChat, your weekly podcast on everything disability. Today, I have with me Jonathan Cha. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello.
Always good to see you. We'll be talking about brief introduction to Toastmasters International and its mission to help individuals develop public speaking and leadership skills. And with us, we have a very special guest. Welcome back, Needy. How are you today?
Good, thanks, Ibi and Jonathan. Nice to be back on CripChat.
Thank you, Needy. It's always good to have you. So we'll be talking about, and we will just looking over the importance of accessibility in public speaking and leadership training. So, just briefly, Needy, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Nidhi Shikaran, and I have a lived experience of cerebral palsy and a mild vision impairment, and my cerebral palsy is also mild in nature.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Nini. So, Nini, in the context of Toastmasters and understanding the accessibility when it comes to Toastmasters, what does accessibility mean to you in the context of Toastmasters?
So, accessibility to me in the context of Toastmasters is making is including people with disabilities in Toastmasters, and also when you actually have a club that's organized or chartered or have 20 members or so, that's when a club is chartered. And then to have an accessible venue that you first meet at, so you can include people with disabilities in it.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing it. So, how does Toastmasters International address the needs of members with disabilities?
Toastmasters International addresses the needs of members with disabilities by we actually have an electronic module system of pathways, and it also addresses it by basically having mentors in your club when you first join for the first 6 months, and I go on and the same on your leadership journey. So whenever you start a leadership pathway, you'll have a leadership mentor for the first 6 months, and and also making venues accessible, and also in my club which is a club for people with disabilities called Up Toastmasters, we provide people of the roles that we do, and we actually have people with disabilities in the club, and this club was established for people with Down syndrome and autism, and now has other disabilities in it. So yes, so that's how it addresses it.
Nice. Thank you, Nini. Thank you for sharing. And now, look, we'll get into the personal stories and experiences. So tell us, Nidhi, the story of your journey, how it all began with Toastmasters and how accessibility has played a role in your experience.
Um, for me, it began in 2010 when I was first working with Down Syndrome New South Wales, and they want people with Down syndrome and people with intellectual disability wanted a club started in Toastmasters for their communication and leadership journey. So a parent of a son with Down syndrome came up and told me that we're going to start a Toastmasters club. And so our club was chartered with the help of Down Syndrome New South Wales in 2011 in Up Toastmasters, that is. And then so I'm still a part of that club 12 years later, still going strong. And 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 then I joined another club, which is an able-bodied club, which is a dinner club called Western Gourmet, 1.5 years ago.
Wow.
Because like I was not up Toastmasters, it was not anything different or not anything new that I was learning. So I went to an able-bodied to challenge myself.
That's awesome. So, and describe a time when you faced an accessibility challenge at a Toastmasters meeting or event, and how was the result?
So the first time I actually faced a accessibility challenge was when I became president of Up Toastmasters in 2016 for the first time. And somebody told me you have to attend something called an area council, which is a group of 6 clubs that is managed by an area director, and they meet at a location at night.
Oh, yeah.
So we have an executive team at Toastmasters, so one person of that team used to drive me to those meetings and bring me back at night. Or sometimes I used to catch public transport one way, and then she used to bring me back at night. So that's how that's resolved. And even now at the dinner club where I have to attend a meeting, one person from the club picks me up from home and drives me to the dinner club venue, because the venue changes every month because I'm vision impaired.
Well, thank you, Nini. Thank you for sharing. So now we'll move on to making meetings accessible and what that's all about. So, Nini, what are some best practices for making Toastmaster meetings accessible for members with various disabilities?
Like I said, having a person mentor you for the first 6 months in the club makes it accessible. Having someone also, the mentor can then print off the modules for you and email it to you personally, from module to module, which I do for myself, from the Pathways portal, the portal that we have with Toastmasters International, and also to have tip sheets of the roles that you're doing, of the speeches that you're doing, and that speech, the speech, whatever speech you're doing has to be, whatever speech it is, you can record it or whatever, and even the evaluation forms which you get, and you get evaluated in Toastmasters for every speech you do to gain feedback. So all of that documentation can be printed off for you and emailed to you in advance, which I do. And all of the roles can have tip sheets given so that you can then read it over and over, or have it with you as a folder, so that you can then know that you've done that role. And you can also Toastmasters is a learning by doing process. So you just can throw yourself into a role even though you haven't been taught it, and learn by that example.
Cool. I know you probably on this, but when it comes to accessibility in just the location, how can clubs ensure that the meeting locations are accessible?
Um, Look, this is where I think Toastmasters location and meetings are lacking, because at the moment, not Toastmasters is first of all an American public speaking program, which is followed all over the world. And in Australia, all the meeting locations are not accessible. They're still learning of how to include people with severe disabilities or with disabilities as in regards to their meeting locations. It's not fully accessible for someone. The portal isn't fully accessible at the moment for someone with a vision impairment either, because the videos stop and start to educate yourself, right? To actually learn what you're doing. But they will get there because they are now getting digital accessibility wise. Quite a lot of people with disabilities in it. So there are people there that know this fact.
Interesting. Well, now move on to accessible communication tools and techniques. So, Nidhi, tell us what types of assistive technology and communication tools can be used to support members with disabilities in Toastmasters.
In Toastmasters, you can use any assistive technology, as long as you tell your club and your contest Toastmaster, if you are practicing using an aid, assistive technology aid, in the context of Toastmasters contest, and they do adapt. I have vision impairment, so they use a bell for me at the contest level, for me to know that I've gone over time, or explain the rules to me and adapt that. And also at the Toastmasters meeting level, you can always tell your president or your supporting mentor that you have a disability and you will be using an assistive technology aid, and then use it, and then use the aid to actually speak through it, or have an aid there. Because I know of a friend, Huang, who used to do Toastmasters, who uses his phone to talk through it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I also felt, like I have used screen reader software or talking software on my phone to actually talk through my speeches as well, or record them beforehand to time them and everything like that. But if you have to use it in a presentation, all you need to do is tell them that what aid you will be using in the presentation, and find out whether there's IT supports available in the venue. beforehand.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Nick. I think for the next question, you've already touched base on, huh? And so, how can club members adopt their communication styles to be more inclusive?
Basically, for me, because I'm vision impaired, I would like people to explain how meetings work, and you can visit clubs as more as any time as you as many times as you like, without becoming a member. But once you become a member, then I think assistive technology can be used. They need to know how to use it, and they need to adapt it for you. And they have also slides need, like if they're using presentation slides, then they need to be audio described. If a person is impaired, use closed use like like a person can sign. Um, um, if a person is hearing impaired, I've got a friend of mine who's hearing impaired, and she signs her presentation. Um, so like that is something new that they're learning at the moment, and also we learn a lot of this on Zoom as well, because Zoom is an option that we are using as well for our online meetings. So that's a piece of technology that we also use in some of our modules. So yeah, that they will learn, and we also do Zoom contests as well.
Thank you. So now we move on to the training and support for club leaders. And so, Nidhi, I'll ask you, what training and resources are available for club leaders to help them make their clubs more accessible?
At the moment, there is only the training. We provide. We get 6 monthly training for leaders as in general, but in terms of accessibility, the accessibility isn't there at this point for leadership at its full capacity. It's only in small increments that it is growing. And but certainly the venue locations, and there are more people with disabilities included in Toastmasters now, so it will slowly happen.
I'm pretty sure it will. Thank you, Nidhi. And so, how important is it for club leaders to be proactive about accessibility?
See, proactivity actually comes from knowing and learning about what the accessibility standards are for leaders and communicators and members in general, and also knowing that if a person with lived experience of disability comes and tells you that this is not accessible, then the feedback is given to either the club president or higher to know that this is not accessible. So the feedback should be then passed on so that things can happen. It's a slow change. Everything is a slow change. Accessibility is a very, very slow process in most things, including advocacy. So you need to advocate for accessibility changes to happen.
Well said, Nidhi. Thank you. We now move on to inclusive membership and recruitment. And so, Nidhi, I ask you, how can Toastmaster clubs attract and retain members with disability?
It's not only retaining members with disability, it's retaining members full stop. Ask them. I mean, at my club, they do a survey when the member first comes to the club and says, "What do you want to get out of your Toastmasters membership? What are you here for to learn? What are you here for to learn?" Some people will tell you, "I am not good at social situations or social meetings, like
Yeah.
social communication. I'm not good at. I need to give a speech at a wedding, for example, or whatever, or some event like that, or I'm not good at presenting in front of large groups of people because at a team meeting it scares me. I mean,
Mm.
public speaking is the biggest fear anywhere in the world. So, like people will tell you those goals, and you say to them, this is a slow growth process. And Toastmasters also teaches you impromptu speaking in different situations where you speak on a topic for 1 minute and grow your confidence that way. So,
Mm.
that is one thing that people can do. And then if you want to grow your leadership skills outside of outside of your club, you have the whole of district, area, and international convention that you can practice at.
Interesting. So, share examples of successful inclusive recruitment strategies.
Successful inclusive recruitment strategies are when people ask you for roles about people, like roles that your club members can do. Encourage them to have a go. Um, encourage them that it is scary, but there will be a person that's familiar in the crowd from your club supporting you, and encourage them to take the next step. Because if you don't encourage them to take the next step, then growth doesn't happen. Because growth doesn't happen when you're in your comfortable zone. Growth happens when you you're you're away from your comfort zone. You have to attack it and
Yeah.
say to yourself, I can do this.
Yeah, yeah, you certainly can. Thank you, Needy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll now move on to success stories and achievements. So, my
Success.
question to you, Needy. What like
Oh,
success stories of members with disability who have thrived in Toastmasters?
so look, I know of a person. I use my example here as well. I know of a person who has a public speaking business
Oh,
um,
no.
in Toastmasters, who I met, who is of Indigenous origin.
Yep.
Um, and I know of, a person who was a wrestler or something in Hollywood films, but he's also a Toastmaster. So, like it's all over the world, and even in my case, I never thought I would be Blind Australian of the Year or volunteer of the New South Wales Volunteer of the Year, but because of
Yeah.
Toastmaster opportunities and doing so much of Toastmasters, it has opened up my employment opportunities. I've taken part in so many videos, so many TV opportunities and other media opportunities. I was interviewed on SBS Radio um, for
Wow.
the Speak My Language program with Ethnic Communities Council of New South Wales. So in Hindi.
Wow.
So, in
Amazing.
another language. So all of these opportunities can come your way if you get confident in public speaking, because you automatically then exude that confidence and become your own leader.
Yeah, it's such amazing work you do, Neely, and congratulations to all these achievements.
Mm.
Sounds awesome. So when you spoke about those members and their successful journeys in Toastmasters, how have they contributed to their club and the I guess broader Toastmasters community?
Yeah, Toastmasters is everywhere. So
Mm.
basically, they actually through their work and through their own contribution, present at conferences and present outside their club or even overseas as a guest speaker or do an educational in one of these conferences or any other work-related conference, for example, which is a common thing that people with Toastmasters do. And Toastmasters is focused on servant leadership to the club and outside the club, which forms a community anyway, a volunteer community anyway.
Interesting. Thank you, Nini. We'll now move on to the challenges and areas for improvement. So, Nini, yep.
Challenge. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just going to ask the question.
Yeah,
What are the current challenges faced by Toastmasters in achieving full accessibility?
Achieving full accessibility can be hard because it's an American-based program, and if the program needs to be changed, then you need to actually get permission for the to achieve full accessibility. It needs to get permission from Toastmasters International, which is an American-based old program. So it needs to actually change the whole model of how the website looks and how needs to kind of redesign the website from scratch kind of thing. Yeah. So, and then bring it down to every place in the world that, and then go from district to district to district and area to area, which is a very tedious process. So even if it is slowly happening, it will happen in one club at a time, I think, which will take years to do. So that's the full accessibility campaign that it works in, because there's lots of tiers in how Toastmasters works.
Nice. No, that's interesting. So look, building on that, what steps can we take to address these challenges and continue improving accessibility?
Look, if, like I said, if you find anything difficult in any level of Toastmasters, then tell your president, tell your district leaders, tell your area leaders, and tell them to then pass on an email or write an email on your behalf. It's slow, but it will change. And when they give you feedback, right, in surveys or in any online survey or any physical survey at a conference, then give them that feedback. It has to be critically analysed, and people should know that you need it. If you don't talk about it and advocate for the change to happen, nothing will change.
Exactly. No, that's a good point, Nini. Feedback is a gift.
Yeah.
And it helps us if people want to do so. Thank you for highlighting that, Nini.
Yeah.
We'll now move on to our final segment, the future of accessibility in Toastmasters. So, Nini, what do you envision for the future of accessibility within Toastmasters International?
Look, there comes a point, and Australia isn't fully accessible for us as people with disability in anything at this point. There's a lot more to be done in inclusion, in the inclusion space as a person with a disability anyway.
Exactly.
But for accessibility in Toastmasters, I envision that, meeting venues are accessible, and when you find meeting venues or when you find the clubs and stuff, when the clubs are first charted and you're finding a meeting venue, find an accessible spot so that is not considered an afterthought, and then find out how to make the resources accessible to you that you can print on your own terms, like make it accessible for people. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science.
Exactly. Spot on.
It's not rocket science. It's a little things that make a difference. It's even like people asking you, how will you get there? How will you get there? Do you need a person to pick you up? Do you need a person to stand there outside the venue to guide you in? Do you need, like, questions like that we all know about, or even have a buddy? We have a buddy system in Toastmasters with the mentor anyway. So have a buddy system with a sighted, like, whatever the disability is, have a fully sighted person that can assist you, who you're comfortable with, to share these, right?
Yeah.
So they can assist you. That's what people are there for. There are millions of people that you can ask for help in any form. It's a very supportive organization if you ask for help, but you need to make that effort.
Thank you for sharing that, Nidhi. So I've got a question. How can the organization continue to innovate and lead in accessibility?
Again, leading in accessibility comes from the American model.
Yep.
Finding, the American online model, saying to yourself that it is fully accessible for people with vision impairment, hearing impairment. The videos have got closed captions. It can be screen read. It can be printed without a fee, because you can get only one module that's free, but each of the other modules are charged. So you need to know all of that, and they, in some clubs, you need to keep membership free. Like, we have even got a prison Toastmasters club that has membership free. So if membership becomes a possible, like a very expensive thing, then you have to have different ways of 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 minimizing the financial burden on a person with a disability, or everything like that. Remember also that Toastmasters membership can be taken out of your NDIS package if you are plan managed and self-managed.
Interesting. That's good. That's good. Well, a lot of useful information from Needy herself and her experiences in joining Toastmasters and what that's all about. Lifting her confidence in public speaking, and she now does it so well. And it's awesome to have you, Needy, on the show. I guess sharing your lived experiences and also your knowledge on Toastmasters and what that's all about.
Thank you very much, Abraham Dawich and Ibi himself, and also thank you very much, Jonathan, for having me back again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And for the audience out there, we encourage you to all advocate for accessibility within your own Toastmasters clubs and communities. I just want to end by saying how important inclusivity and accessibility is for people with disability. We want to create a space where everyone is included and no one gets left behind. Jonathan, sorry I hogged up that space. Do you have anything you want to say?
Toastmasters is a great forum to make people feel more confident in public speaking. They are always people I think you will get to the
I couldn't agree more, Jonathan. It's all about, giving people the confidence to be able to, I guess, engage in public speaking.
I would like to end with the Toastmasters slogan, or the 4 principles that Toastmasters is based on, which is respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And also, the Toastmasters slogan that we pride ourselves on is where leaders are made.
Where leaders are made, for sure, Nini. And thank you, Jonathan, for that as well. For, I guess, the audience out there, thank you very much. If you watch a CripChat, you make a podcast on everything disability. Join us next week as we talk about more issues related to disability. Thank you once again, Nini, and good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.